How's it hanging, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and I'm here with two awesome high-end Android phones on Verizon. No, they're not 4G, but what they do have are dual-core processors. The Motorola DROID 3 available now for $199.99, and the Motorola DROID X2, it's been available for a couple of weeks, but it's also $199.99. One has a keyboard and global roaming capabilities, one has a bigger display. Which one's the one to get? We'll find out in the Dogfight, but first, special thanks to our friends at Best Buy. They hooked us up with a bunch of phones and continue to hook us up so we can give them to you in the One Paw Bandit game. So when you go into Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out working. They'll help you set up your email, your web, and more. So when you get this phone or this phone, you're hooked up and ready to go. Enough of that, let's get into it. The Dogfight, who's gonna win? DROID 3, DROID X2. Let's find out, starting right now. So to pick up on part 2 of this video, I'm going to go through a couple of different things: cameras, messaging, speed tests, and more. But I'm also going to take some of your questions from Twitter. Earlier in the day, I asked what you'd like to see on both of these devices on Twitter. And if you'd like to participate in the future, follow me on Twitter, PhoneDog_Aaron, because I usually ask before a dogfight, a couple hours before a dogfight, what you'd like to see in the particular video. So be sure to follow me and tweet when I ask that if you'd like to know more about a particular device. So anyway, going into the keyboards on both of these devices, and you can see also, one thing I need to point out, this one is getting Android 2.3. Actually, it's supposed to be rolling out today, according to Verizon. So the DROID X2, if you don't have it yet, it's coming. That said, I tested it checked it right before the video, checked it several times actually, and there's no Android 2.3 in sight just yet. So you can see device up to date right now, even though Verizon says effective right now, it's rolling out. I'm not able to manually get it. But let's take a look at the keyboards on both of these devices. Go into text messaging. Now obviously you have a physical keyboard over here on the DROID 3, which is really nice because a little bit smaller on the real estate front here, 4 inches as opposed to 4.3 inches. Both are QHD, but it's a nice improvement over the original DROID 1 and the DROID 2. Now that said, we go in here and you can see both of those offer the same keyboard, the Motorola multi-touch keyboard. Now I'll tell you, said it before and I'll say it again, multi-touch keyboard is my favorite Android keyboard available. Motorola has just done a killer job with this one. The way the keys are shaped, the way it flows, the multi-touch capabilities, all fantastic. It's a great keyboard, but you can see over here little differences. I always like to point out the little differences between builds of software. So between these two builds of Motorola's applications platform and Gingerbread, you can see here it says enter a message in the field below, which I think is kind of cool. Now somebody asked me to put something specific in there from Twitter, and I'm going to do that because I promised him that I would. Let's see here. Right for the keyboard test, the quick brown fox likes to roll around and catch up. The quick brown fox likes to roll around and catch up. Not met chip. Catch up. There we go. Catch up. The quick brown fox likes to roll around and catch up. So special shout out to you, little code Jeff123. You can see there, Motorola's multi-touch keyboard. Now you can see over here, I don't know if I can get it to highlight. Let me get it to work here. Let me do it this way. There we go. Okay, good. Not add roll to. Jeez, sorry. We'll go in like this. Input method. There we go. Swipe and multi-touch keyboard. So both of these actually come with swipe out of the box. So if you don't like the multi-touch keyboard for whatever reason, you do get swipe as an option on both the DROID X2 and on the DROID 3. Now the obvious benefit here is the physical QWERTY keyboard. Like I said in part 1, it's a 5-row physical QWERTY keyboard. They have a dedicated row for numbers now, and then they have this dedicated row down here for the space bar, commonly used symbols, and they have a nice D-pad over here with an OK button. Now, I don't know what they did to improve. Actually, I do. The keys are much more tactile, and the way they're spaced is much better. This is the best keyboard I've ever used on an Android phone. I mean, the keys are incredibly tactile. They're nice and rubbery, and they're raised just ever so slightly. Let's see if I can get it close so you can see. The keys are just raised perfectly. They're perfect size, and all around best keyboard I've ever used. So let's go back and try the quick brown fox is happy. So very easy to type on, and for those people that send a lot of text messages or type a lot of emails, this is going to be your keyboard. Now over here, multi-touch keyboard. Now you get the benefit of the larger display, 4.3-inch display. The quick brown fox likes to roll around and catch up. Actually, no, this quick brown fox is going to roll around in mustard. So I'm going to live life on the edge there. Quick brown fox likes to roll around in mustard, and you can use it in landscape as well. And because of that long 4.3-inch display, people with larger thumbs, it's going to be very easy to type in landscape on this device. A little bit easier on this one than on the Droid 3 using the virtual keyboard. Now you do, like I said, have the physical keyboard. So keyboards on both of these are good. It just depends on what you need. If you text message a lot, you miss that physical QWERTY keyboard, maybe you're coming from a BlackBerry, something like this, this is going to be an awesome replacement for you. If you're coming from the iPhone 4 or you're coming from another device and you're okay with that slab form factor, you want something with a big display, the DROID X2 is going to be the one for you. So it's all dependent on the design that you prefer. But both of those are absolutely fantastic. Now both of these come, on that note, with an 8 megapixel camera with a flash. And honestly, between both of these, picture quality is not that great on either one of these. I've seen much better. The MyTouch 4G Slide, much better picture quality. The iPhone 4, much better picture quality. And so I'll bring in this T-Mobile pin here so we can focus in on the T-Mobile text. And neither of these have physical camera buttons anymore. You know how much I love my physical camera buttons. So let's see here. Focus in on T-Mobile. We'll get that zoomed in. And it always looks so good until you take the picture. Now one thing I noticed as well with the Droid 3, like I said, I took this one on vacation, and after I loaded up about 30 pictures, I was going into, let's say, 100 or so pictures. After about 30, and I was taking my 31st picture and on, somewhere around there, I noticed that the shutter speed got incredibly slow. I mean, the shutter speed was up to like 5-10 seconds at some points where I was taking a picture and either the button wouldn't recognize at some points. I go to click and I was clicking it and it wasn't doing anything, or it was taking 5 to 10 seconds. So very, very frustrating there. So you can see, the T-Mobile text is pretty easy to read. This is going to be fine for well-lit situations, but if you're in a low-lit situation, or especially if you're in a fast-moving place, like you're in a car and trying to take a picture, this isn't your camera. Now over here, 8 megapixel camera as well, and we'll go in here and take a look and get focused in on the T-Mobile. And you can see there again, pretty mediocre picture quality, and these are just unofficial tests on the phones themselves, but you can see very similar here in terms of share, just the way the menu structure looks as over here. You can see those are very similar, but mediocre picture quality. You can see kind of the black here in the back and the T-Mobile with the light going through it, but other than that, again, decent for day shots. This one's a little faster on the shutter speed front, but still both of these, they're no replacement to your full camera. Let's do a quadrant standard test, and while we're doing that, I'm going to see if I can answer some of these questions from Twitter. So we'll load up quadrant standard on both of these, and let's get this running. And keep in mind, as with anything, LinPack, quadrant standard, Smart Bench 2011, any of these, take them with a grain of salt, because just take them with a grain of salt. They're benchmark tests. They don't reflect day-to-day use. More so they reflect a test that's done in the moment. So let's try, look at some of these questions on Twitter. Are the screens the same? I know the size difference, but wondering about viewing angles and clarity. Obviously, like you said, there's a size difference. 4 inches here, 4.3 inches over here. Both QHD. Honestly, screen, they're both about the same to me. I mean, from any angle I see both of them about the same. And is blur horribly slow on both? So Motorola's applications platform is slow. Not really. I mean, they've really done a better job. You look at like the Motorola Devour days where Motorola Blur was just terrible. I mean, absolutely terrible. It's better. I mean, obviously there are people out there that are going to prefer vanilla interfaces, but it's not as slow, or not very slow at all. So camera and video capture showed you the camera. What phone has the most responsive screen? That's a tough call. I'd probably give the most responsive screen by a narrow margin to the Droid X2. I found that, and this is very unofficial, so keep that in mind, I found that while typing on the on-screen keyboard, it was a little bit harder to type on the on-screen keyboard on this one than it was on this one. It was very responsive. As soon as my finger went down, it recognized the gesture. So I'd have to say the Droid X2. So anyway, let's look here. Motorola Droid 3 speed test, 2,196. So 2196 over here, 2,593 over here. Now, interesting to note, these are Verizon's dual-core devices. These are actually their only dual-core devices right now. The Bionic's not out yet. But, it's kind of funny because they're both 3G and not 4G. But these are their flagship devices in the speed department, and you're seeing a little bit of a discrepancy here between two devices that supposedly have processors with the same clock speed. So very interesting there. 2,196, 2,593, but again, take it with a grain of salt. Camera quality showed you that. Which one Sydney, which one has the best hair? Oh wait, you would win that one. I mean, I can take pictures of my hair with both if you want me to, but she is right now. I'm just kidding. I love Sydney. Let's see here. Benchmark did quadrant standard, and let's do a speed test so you can see, like I said, both of these Verizon 3G with their EVDO revision A. We'll go into speed tests here. Make sure they're both set to Greensboro because Charlotte server has been acting a little funky since it came back online. And we'll go to begin test on both of those. Now, call quality has been very good on both of these devices. Motorola always excels in call quality. Not only, and I use this one abroad in Spain and Italy and, of course, in the States. when I use my Verizon line, and call quality's been fantastic. The volume is very good. Call quality is great. In areas where I get 0 or 1 bars, I always have at least 1 with the DROID 3. So they do really well in the call quality in the reception department. And same thing with the DROID X2. Very, very good in that department. In an area, actually I took this one a couple weeks back. I was traveling, and I traveled to the western part of the state to visit some family. And they live in kind of a rough area when it comes to cell phone reception. And it was very good. So keep that in mind with both. I think if you're looking for a great call quality, or device with great call quality, you're going to be happy with either one of these. But 255 kilobits per second here, 373 over here. So both just really terrible scores, but still better on the DROID X2. Now, winner has to be declared between both of these. And honestly, this is one of the tougher ones for me because they're both great devices. It honestly depends on what form factor you want. I mean, you want the keyboard, the DROID X or the DROID 3 is going to be your one. If you want the slab device with a little bit bigger display, the DROID X2 is going to be your device. That said, one of the winners has to be declared, and by a narrow, probably the most narrow margin of any dogfight I've ever done, I'm going to have to give it to the DROID 3. And the reason why I'm giving it to the DROID 3, 1, awesome QWERTY keyboard, 2, front-facing camera, and Android 2.3 out of the box. So just from a feature standpoint, the DROID 3 is rocking it out of the box. Now, Android 2.3 is coming to this actually today, so sometime soon, but there's still no front-facing camera on this device, and then of course you don't have that physical QWERTY keyboard. So size-wise, very similar. You do get the bigger display over here, but in terms of just all-around features combined with the global connectivity of this device, the DROID 3 is the one to have. So I hit all the questions on Twitter, but as always, you think I'm crazy, you think I'm wild, you think the DROID X2 should have won, let me know at PhoneDog_Aaron on Twitter and on Facebook at facebook.com/PhoneDogAB. Much more coverage to come on PhoneDog.com with both of these devices, but in the meantime, be sure to like us on Facebook at Facebook.com/PhoneDog. We're giving away tablets galore as part of our greatest tech giveaway ever. So HP touchpads, Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1s, Apple iPad 2s, and Asus Transformers. Lots of opportunities to win, and we're doing it until the end of September, every Tuesday, every Thursday. So check it out, Facebook.com/PhoneDog. Thanks so much for watching. Again, let me know what you think on Twitter or on Facebook, and we'll see you next time.